There are a lot of self-proclaimed alpha males in our generation. You should know the type, posting shirtless gym pics, flexing cars that they don't even own, and calling themselves kings. But let me show you what a real alpha male looks like. A true warrior, a man of discipline, honor, strength, and sacrifice. If anyone ever deserved the title alpha, it's this man. His name is Lee Sun-shin, and he is not only the greatest hero in Korean history, but arguably the greatest naval commander the world has ever seen. He fought 23 battles and has 23 victories. He single-handedly defended Korea against the Japanese during his lifetime. While everyone gave up, he was the only one standing, literally. And yet, despite being Korea's last hope, the king hated him, demoted him, imprisoned him, and nearly killed him, driven by jealousy and fear. But Lee Sun-shin didn't break, he didn't complain, he didn't seek revenge. He stood firm, he fought, he endured. And in the end, he saved an entire nation from annihilation. His life is the stuff of legends. And today I want to share 3 powerful stories that reveal his character and why I believe he's one of the greatest role models we can ever study. Yes, I may be Korean, but trust me, this man is more than a national hero. He's a timeless example of the paragon. So the first story is the story of his courage and persistence. Lee Sun-shin didn't come from privilege. He didn't have connections. He was a prodigy, but he had resolve. He decided to become a warrior at the age of 22. He trained rigorously, studying strategy, mastering martial arts, archery, and horseback riding. At 28, he went to Hanyang to take the military exam, but during the horse riding test, disaster struck. His horse fell and his leg was fractured. Some even thought he had died. But Lee Sun-shin, he wrapped his bleeding leg with bark from a willow tree, got back on the horse, and finished the exam. Then he walked out of the hall on his own. He may have failed that day, but 4 years later, he came back, took the exam again, and passed. I think that's true persistence. That's resilience. He didn't cry about it, tweet about it, or blame the system. He trained harder and came back stronger. This pattern is repeated again and again throughout his life. When all else lost hope, when everyone else thought of giving up, he stood alone, unfazed, and he conquered. Most of us give up too easily. Things don't work the first time, and we assume it's not for us. When I look back on my life, there are so many instances where I failed, and simply because I failed, I quit. I gave up too easily. But Lee Sun-shin shows us, if you don't quit, you haven't failed yet. Get back on your feet, try again, give your best, and let your actions talk. The second story is the story of his integrity. At age 35, Lee Sun-shin was promoted and returned to the capital. His superiors, Seo-ik, tried to pressure him into promoting a friend unfairly. Lee Sun-shin refused, plain and simple. He said, if I skip over those below and recommend someone unfairly, it would not only be unjust to those who deserve promotion, but it would also be wrong to arbitrarily change regulations to promote a specific person. Seo-ik was, of course, furious. He made Lee stand in the courtyard for hours trying to humiliate him. But eventually, Seo-ik backed down. Even those who tried to intimidate him were forced to respect him. Later, the Minister of War asked Lee for his prized quiver of arrows, a clear abuse of power. Most would have handed it over to, gain favor, but Lee said, what difficulty is there in giving up a simple quiver like this? But if such a trivial thing were to tarnish all of our names, how regretful would that be? Even the minister admitted Lee was right, so he also had to back down. Then came the turning point. The king, misled by spies who were actually working for Japan, ordered Lee Sun-shin to launch an attack that he knew was a trap. He refused, not out of rebellion, of course, but because his loyalty was to Joseon, Korea, not to political games. He perhaps could have acted like he went out to fight just to put up a show and avoid getting into trouble with the king, but that was against his character and integrity. He was arrested, tortured, demoted. It is recorded that he was close to death. His nephew came and begged him to bribe someone to get released, but Yi Sun-shin replied, "If I am to die, then I die. How could I seek to live by violating what is right?" This wasn't stubbornness, this was integrity, the kind that doesn't bend when power or pain is involved. How many of us are actually able to stand our ground and stand for what is right, even at the face of torture and death? I think we even fall for the most trivial things, such as a small promotion, to gain favor, to make money, to cheat and, get good grades perhaps. But the life of Yi was different. He knew that unless he is faithful to his own morals and standards, even if no one else knew, he would know. He himself would know, and that would be contrary to what he truly stood for. All right, the final story is the story of his courage in the face of death. After he was imprisoned, many feared he would be executed, and so came over to him and said His Majesty's wrath had reached its peak, and the ministers at court are also enraged. I fear what may happen next. But he calmly said, life and death are determined by heaven. If I am to die, then so be it. But fate had one more mission for him. After his rival, Won Kyun, lost everything he had built, 170 warships, the famed turtle ships, and thousands of soldiers, Yi was reinstated by the king. All he had left were 12 warships. The king ordered him to abandon the navy because, the navy is only 12 ships now, but Yi's response, one of the most legendary quotes in history. He says, I still have 12 ships. If we fight with all our might, we can still hold out. Though our ships are few, as long as I live, the enemy will not dare to take us lightly. Then came the infamous Battle of Myeongyang. It's a story of 12 Korean ships versus 400 Japanese ships. But Yi Sun-shin wasn't shaken. He chose a narrow strait with powerful currents, positioned his fleet perfectly, and waited. Before the battle, he got his commanders together and he told them, if you seek to die, you will live. But if you are ready to live, you will die. All of you commanders must not think of survival today. The result? Yi's fleet destroyed over 30 Japanese ships. The rest fled in confusion, and Yi lost 0 ships. It was one of the greatest naval victories in human history, and it was led by a man who had everything taken from him except his honor, his courage, and his unbreakable will. Yi Sun-shin's legacy as a national hero and military genius was sealed in this battle. We often fear failure, we also fear death. But Yi showed the opposite. He prepared rigorously, acted strategically, but after giving all he got, he did not fear failure nor death. I think we worry way too much, but worrying, it never gets us anywhere. Nothing can be added through worrying if you think about it. All you gotta do and all you can do is to take action. Give your best, and the rest, you leave it up to God. So, in conclusion, there's so much more to say about Yi Sun-shin, but these 3 stories alone teach us so much. Persistence, he prepared relentlessly and never gave up even when the odds were against him. Integrity, he never compromised his values, no matter the cost. And courage, he faced death without fear as long as he had done what was right. I think Yi Sun-shin lived a life opposite to the values we often see today. He didn't chase clout, he didn't cheat for fame, he didn't take shortcuts. He built character first, and then power followed. And that's what we need today. Not just strength, but character. Not just ambition, but honor. I think Yi Sun-shin wasn't just a great Korean, he was the paragon. So, thanks for watching. If you found this inspiring, like, share, and subscribe. Let's learn from legends, not influencers,